Hey everybody, Questwise here, and today we're going to talk about Dead Rain a little bit. So this is going to be kind of a combo video where we're going to be talking about surviving Dead Rain, but it's also going to be sort of a little bit of a preview and review of the newest source book called In the Face of Death, which is a city survival guide for Dead Rain. And this is new, just recently came out. And today we're going to talk a little bit about survival in Dead Rain, but as well as a little bit of review of In the Face of Death. So, In the Face of Death is the 7th Dead Rain source book, and it focuses on city survival. An interesting part of this book, the very first part of this book, is called Reimagining the Apocalypse. And it's a really interesting sort of almost like an essay by about living and surviving, thinking about the world of Dead Rain. If you're playing Dead Rain as a zombie apocalypse horror survival game, there are some criticisms about those types of games, whether it be this game or any sort of zombie survival game, is that a lot of times it becomes simply a game about fighting zombies, an endless horde of zombies, and how sometimes that can become kind of a grind. It can become a little bit of it can become boring over time, right? And so this essay is really about reimagining how the game works and exploring the world in bigger scope, thinking about it as a survival game, and thinking about it, reimagining it, thinking about it as a fantasy campaign. There's a lot of possibilities out there beyond just killing zombies. There's the exploration aspect of things. There's the social economic aspect of the game itself. Thinking about exploring lost places and dungeons and dungeons in a sense that sort of like you have cities that have collapsed, you have civilizations that have collapsed, and so thinking about exploring these cityscape ideas as dungeons in a fantasy sense kind of gives more depth to the zombie apocalypse type of a game. And I found that really, really interesting, a kind of a unique twist of how to rethink the game itself and how to rethink the sort of world of Dead Rain. One of the other aspects of this book that I found really, really interesting too, and this is really great about Dead Rain, and as the core book as well as In the Face of Death, is that it gives you a chart. So in Dead Rain you have a chart of 100 encounters, random encounters, and or adventure seeds. And In the Face of Death gives you another 100 random table of things that can happen, things that you can, if you're caught up for, you need an idea and you need one quickly, either for a convention game or a one shot, or just your campaign is sort of broken into a crawl. You can roll on these charts and it gives you a little bit of an adventure seed, an encounter to sort of re-kickstart the imagination. And it's nice to have those. It's really, really cool to have that there, and they're really, really well done. So you roll percentile dice, and every entry has a nice block of text, usually about a paragraph, maybe 2 paragraphs long, of what you might encounter, something that might happen. Whether you find a child wandering the streets by themselves, you come across a cult, living in some kind of a building. There's 100 different things, and they're all very unique. They're all very different. And while it's just a one-off kind of encounter, it gives you enough sort of seeds for further adventures that you can build upon from each one. And that's really, really cool to have in there. And I love that aspect of Dead Rain. The other things I really love about this game, the thing that really sparks my interest in this, is and because I'm such a narrative storyteller. When I learn a game, I look at the rules to see how it'll help me develop better stories as opposed to just the crunch of numbers. And so Dead Rain does a lot of that. And that's how we're going to kind of segue into the second part of this, in that surviving the Dead Rain aspect. This game is really about survival. And if you think about the game as a larger sort of thing besides just killing zombies or trying to avoid being raided by miscreants, or avoiding being captured by a cult or something, you get a whole other aspect of the game in that you're trying to survive, and it's about sort of how to survive in a zombie apocalypse type setting. So the Dead Rain core book gives you a lot of details about how things are now that the world has sort of collapsed, right? Things like gasoline, and how gasoline goes stale after a certain period of time. And so how to find fresh gasoline. And so one of the instances is that you get to a gas station, but there's no electricity. So there's no way to pump the gas from the tanks underground up to the thing. So now you have to sort of open the tank and try to siphon the gas out. But if you're doing that alone, you're putting all your attention into that. And it's very easy for you to be snuck up upon by zombies and or other deviants, bad people that are seeking to sort of take things from you. So it's an additional amount of stuff in this book, and in the Face of Death as well too, gives you a whole new list of a whole new aspect of the game to think about beyond just killing zombies. But it's about gathering resources. It's about protecting the community that you're with. It's about building stronger relationships with people that you can trust, and helping them out as well as them helping you out. In the Face of Death focuses upon cities and how dangerous they can be, but how beneficial they can be as well too, if you know what you're doing. So you have aspects like choke points in cities. The idea that the streets are clogged with cars, and if you get into an intersection and now are surrounded by zombies, there's no real way to sort of escape that. So things to look out for in those aspects as well too. The idea is that buildings are rife with hiding spots for zombies and for gang members and cultists. Things to look out for, things to be wary of, and things to sort of be cautious of when exploring cities and such as well too. Very, very cool stuff. There's a lot of new OCCs in this book as well too that expands upon what's in the Dead Rain. There's the aspect of playing a kid. It seems like every zombie apocalypse game, a zombie sort of genre of TV show or movie always has a kid involved in some way. That gives you the option to play kids in this book as well too. It gives you a lot of skills and OCC options. There's the Urban Explorer for people who have skills, who are searching for resources in city environments, like how to find food in a city environment. Sure, you might come across a gas station or a grocery store, but most of the food will have been spoiled depending on when you set your game, sort of during the apocalypse. Or it may have already been looted. So things like that, how to find resources of places that you might not, other people may have not have thought of. There's the zombie nerd, who's the person who loves zombie apocalypse fiction and movies and TV shows, and so they know a lot. They have a lot of skills based around zombies. They're not afraid of zombies. They know exactly how a multitude of different zombies work from watching different movies and reading different books. So it gives you an OCC that has a lot of different skills at how zombies sort of react to things as well too. There's also the Masked Hero, which is a very interesting OCC, in that it's sort of like in riffs the kind of the crazies, the people who are a little bit not completely well attuned upstairs, and they have sort of taken on the mantle of like a superhero kind of an idea. But there's so many possibilities with Dead Rain and In the Face of Death, and all the other source books add so much stuff to this game. and I think it's a really cool. I've used this game by itself. I really love running this game. I've used the zombies from these books in some of the other systems. I've used them in Palladium Fantasy. I've used them in Rifts. I've used them in a multitude of different Palladium games just to add zombies and add a new wealth of different zombie options if I need zombies in some of the other games. So if you get a chance, go check it out. In the Face of Death, the newest source book for Dead Rain. And it's worth mentioning to take a second look at Dead Rain. If you've played it before and you kind of got burnt out, this is a great book to pick up because it adds a whole new level of depth to the game, and possibilities to sort of broaden your horizons and think about the game in a different manner, as more of a survival game or an exploration game as opposed to just killing zombies. So until next time, I'm Questwise. Stay safe, my friends, and game on.